Hello, Buckeye Nation. That was a nerve-wracking game with a frustrating and disappointing ending last Saturday. There's been a lot of talk on other podcasts and Twitter since the Buckeyes walked off that field, but the overall consensus is that actually multiple things need to change. I have 5 thoughts on what the Buckeyes need to fix if they are going to get a shot at the Natty this year. So let's dig into that after the intro. Welcome to Buckeye Football Fangirl. If this is your first time here, my name is Lisa and I'm the gal behind this channel. I love these Ohio State Buckeyes and I bleed scarlet and gray through and through, come whatever. The good, the bad, the painful, the embarrassing, no matter what happens to these Buckeyes, I am a homer at heart. I have deep Northeast Ohio roots and rooting for this team is what I was raised to do. And if you're watching this, I'm going to assume that you might love the Buckeyes just as much as I do. So from the very bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning in. I deeply appreciate each and every one of you. And being on this journey together, even when we don't get the win, is what it's all about. Now, I know a lot of you probably have a lot of thoughts about that game last Saturday, and I would love to hear them. So before I jump in, go ahead, take a second, drop me your thoughts below. I want to hear what are your thoughts on the Buckeyes, where they're at, what are your thoughts on the rest of the season that we have coming up? Leave me a comment below. And now let's move into that game. And I just have to start off by saying, congratulations, Oregon. You beat us 2 times in a row now. As much as I hate that, you won the game. And I don't want to take things away from your victory by saying that Ohio State basically lost because they shot themselves in the foot, even if they might have made some mistakes during that game. Those mistakes made me pull my hair out too. But you guys, Oregon is no slouch. They have a good team and they were dialed in, they were focused, and they were ready to play. That environment was rocking as well. I was watching on my laptop, but geez, did it seem loud in there. Could the Buckeyes have won the game? Yes, I deeply believe they could have, and that they were driving to do that in those final seconds. That was a dang close game. Did they win it though? Nope, they fell short. And that's just how the cookie crumbles for us fans sometimes. So congrats on the win, Oregon. I truly believe we will see you again later in the season. But before I get too far ahead of myself, there are some things that I think need fixed if Ohio State is going to get there. Let's jump into the first one, the defense. Actually, the defense encompasses my points 1 to 3 because there were so many things that happened with the defense that had me yelling at my screen and pulling my hair out all night long. But let's dig in exactly to what the defense needs to fix. First, the pass rush. Lots of people are talking about this because it has been basically non-existent. And I cannot understand that. We have the athletes to do it. They have the talent to do it. We've seen it being done in past games. So why in the world would they not try to do that during the Oregon game? We need to be bringing the pressure on these opposing quarterbacks. We need to feel our defense breathing down their necks. We need to shake them so that they make decisions that they wouldn't normally make, and we can capitalize on this. So what the heck is going on? Why is there no pass rush? Without it, opposing quarterbacks will continue to pick apart our secondary, just like we saw in the Oregon game. That was brutal. It was hurting me so bad to just see him stand back there and have all the time in the world, it seemed, to dial up a pass that moved their team down the field. Next, this defense has got to get it together with the tackling. The tackling also had me pulling my hair out so many times and yelling at my screen because there were just so many, way too many missed tackles during that Oregon game. Guys were trying to make tackles, but they were either missing the tackle or they were hanging on and being drugged down the field by Oregon players, and that is just not acceptable. This defense has talent again. They have the players to be able to do this. So why are they not executing? Why can they not bring the guys down when they try to tackle them? I have no idea what the answer to that question is, but they need to get that fixed if they are going to get to the goals that they have set for themselves this season. Third, this keys in on one particular player, which I don't normally do. And this particular player is someone I really enjoy watching play up until this point. I'm hoping beyond hope that that was just an off game for him and not a sign of what's to come. He cost the team 2 touchdowns. Long gains. He was one of those players who was trying to make tackles and then get drugged down the field for yards after contact. It just doesn't make sense. We have seen him ball out before. We have seen him play so much more polished than what he was, but Oregon just picked on him all night long. And can you blame them? I swear, you guys, Denzel is one of my favorite players on the team this year. Up to this point, I have just loved his smack talk and the fire that he plays with, but he's gotta be able to back that up. This, in my opinion, was a humility game for him. I hope he takes that, he works on his game, and that we don't see that happen again. I'm willing to give him another chance in a fresh game to come back and redeem himself, but if he can't get it together, I'm sorry, but I just don't want to see that type of play hurting the team like it did in that game against Oregon. All right, moving away from the defense for a moment, my fourth item that Ohio State really needs to fix for a Natty run is to cut down the dumb penalties. 70 yards of penalties absolutely killed us in that game. It's those little things, those tiny mistakes that backed the team up in key possessions, that stalled out drives, that caused us to miss our field goal opportunity. Those were some critical moments that I know the players wish that they could get back, but unfortunately, it just needs worked on so we don't see this continue to happen in future games. Stuff like this just cannot be committed by a team who wants to win the Natty. All right, and then my fifth item is the coaching. There's a lot of people out there already saying, fire Ryan Day, fire Jim Knowles, fire everybody. I am not one of those people yet. However, they really need to be putting their players in the best position possible to win these games. There were some head-scratching coaching decisions made during this game. Some of it related to the pass rush. Some of it related to the defensive scheming that was done. It just doesn't make sense. Some of it related to the player we were just talking about. Why wasn't Denzel Burke pulled by the coaches off the field when he was obviously having an off night? All that to say, there were a lot of errors that can be traced back to the coaches, and we cannot have that if they want to reach their goals. To be honest, I feel for the players with this because it is not fair to them to not be able to reach these goals if they are not put in a position to succeed. This needs to be fixed urgently because if it is not, or I guess I should say, if they want that shot at the Natty, they are going to need these things fixed. We need the players put in the best position possible to win. And that comes back to coaching. This is a lot, guys. A lot needs to be fixed for the Buckeyes to have a real shot at the Natty. I am pulling for this team to get it all together, and I think that they can do it. I hope that this game serves as the wake-up call that they need and the catalyst for them to find that deeper gear. Their error for margin now is extremely thin, and I hope that this dialed up pressure yields a stronger and more cohesive team and not one that crumbles. Because there are some tough games ahead. Because I tend to be more of a positive person, I can't end this show without touching on some of the positives. The first being that this isn't a season-ending loss. In other years, yes, this could have been enough to dash any playoff hopes, but thank goodness the 12-team playoff has changed things. My goodness, thank goodness. Second, they have time to fix these mistakes. They do. The only question is, will they? And third, if you've been watching the show, you know how excited I have been at watching history being written before our eyes. As Emeka climbs up the total career yards record board, he is now in 8th place overall, having just passed up KJ Hill in this past game against Oregon. And he is on track to pass up the rest of the OGs before the end of the regular season. For all of the frustration that we have felt this last weekend as fans, it's important to take a moment and still appreciate any good that we can pull out of it. Take time to enjoy these moments, come what may, because we are now officially halfway through the regular season. Grab your friends, grab your family, and fellow fans, and let's enjoy watching these games together. Because at the end of the day, they are just games. While we want to see them win it all more than anything, that shouldn't take the joy out of just getting to watch them play with those that we love. Come what may, I'm going to be doing my best to just soak up and enjoy the thrill that I get from being a Buckeye fan with all my heart and all my soul. Since we have a bye this weekend, I will be back with the Nebraska preview next week before that showdown. All right, that's all I've got for this week. I'll catch you all on the other side of this bye week. OH.